All right, how's everybody doing? My name is Will Ziner. I'm a social studies focus, and I worked with Maddie Schneeberger, and she's also social studies. Well, we were talking about Parlay, which is an educational tool to help with online discussion groups. It's a good tool to use. You can use it in person, hybrid classes, or fully online classes. So it's just a good way to get students fully engaged and talking to each other. So the first slide here is the educator standard. We talked about how we fell into the facilitator and the analyst standards, but you guys can check that out. I'm going to roll on to the student standards, which was the empowered learner is what we thought it fell under. So this says that students leverage technology to take an active role in choosing, achieving, and demonstrating competency in their learning goals, informed by the learning sciences. So basically, what this means is that students are taking their education and their learning ability upon themselves. So they're discussing with their peers, they're just bouncing ideas off each other in order to build their own knowledge. So that's basically like empowering themselves to become better learners. This is not something used to learn new content, but rather to show their comprehension of a topic previously learned. So this isn't something where you would just throw them in there with a brand new topic and have them talk about it. This is more of like a final unit discussion, the end of a lesson maybe, or just to talk about something that they've already learned. So um, this in this they're using their technology to show their opinions and knowledge, which then falls under the standard of being an empowered learner. Uh, all right. So then moving on to the privacy warning. On common sense, this got a 74%, which obviously has the little warning label next to it. This basically just is because it's a little unclear on where the product displays their personal information and the things that they're posting. Um, it's not exactly completely straightforward about what's public, what's private, and all that. So that's why it's a little questionable. It's also because the users, aka the students, can create and upload their own content. This it's also a live platform where they post and it posts. It's basically like a little chat group. Therefore, you can't, as an educator, review what is posted prior to the students seeing it. So this makes it a little weary. You don't know what kids are gonna post. So it's a little sketchy there, but I'd say overall, it gets good reviews in most of the other sections. It's just the fact of it being a live presentation that makes it so that you should be a little weary about it. I'd say just to be safe on this, send home a permission slip, have the parents look it over, and get their okay, and then you should like have your back covered. You should be all right, and then I think it's a very useful tool. So then we went into an example of parlay. So if you guys want to, you can pause this for a minute, go into parlay on your computer, and you can sign in as a teacher. And this will give you full access to be able to set up your own parlay, your own discussion group. It lets you talk about your own learning goals, your discussion questions, peer feedback, and then questions that go along with the peer feedback. So I'll kind of run through the example that we did. Maddie and I put together one where it was one of the ones that Parlay supplied for you. So they have a bunch of topics that you can use as kind of like an opener or a closer to a lesson or something like that. Just kind of breaking the ice, nothing too crazy. Like this one was, would you rather live on the beach or in the mountains? Why? So something super quick, casual, just to get the students talking. Or it can go deeper. You can talk about a full unit. You can talk about we're social studies, so like an example in the civil rights or an example of a battle in the Civil War or something like that. Um, and so it can be a full. You can use it as an assessment tool, or you can use it as just an icebreaker in the beginning, just to get those students comfortable with talking to each other. This is especially important when it's online. Uh, Student engagement online is significantly lower, obviously. So getting them or requiring them, I guess, to discuss with each other is a key factor. So On this one, our learning goals were today we're going to be discussing where we would rather live, the beach or the mountains. We'll share our choice, explain the reasons why. We'll then read each other's posts, then question, build on, and challenge each other's ideas in a respectful manner. So this sets the tone. It lays out what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be doing, and gets the students ready to participate. Then you present the actual question. So this one was the beach or the mountains, and then explain why. You throw in the little thing like, don't worry about being right, because this is more of like an icebreaker, a beginning question. It doesn't really matter what their example is. It's more just to get them engaged. Then you can kind of get into the deeper side of like actual unit or assessing them on the actual content later on. And then there's peer feedback. So this is where it kind of, at this point, it's similar to like a Canvas discussion board where you're basically just putting those questions out there, having them answer it and reply to somebody, which is fine. It's good. But what I really like about Parlay is that you can do it live. So these are actual like it's more like a chat room where they're like talking with each other, going back and forth. They submit a response and then they reply. Like in this, our peer feedback, we required them to reply to at least 2 students. And then you go into the peer feedback questions. Did they change your perspective in any way? Did they agree with you? Why or why not? And can you add to their ideas? So this gets them to actually respond and think about the feedback that they got from their peers, as opposed to just either reading over the feedback, never thinking about it again, or just making their post, replying to people, and never looking at it. So this, I think, that's the main key factor that makes it more engaging than something like a discussion board on Canvas or Schoology or something like that. So that's how it's helpful. On the top left of the page, you'll see the Invite Students button. That's how you are able to share this page with the students. Here on the next page, we show you what will pop up, and you can practice this if you're following along on your own website. This shows how it has 2 different options, either by a join code or a link. So the join code, you can just, this is, I think, the best way to do it if you're doing it live. Not necessarily in person, but online. You're trying to do it quickly, and you just throw that in the chat on your like Microsoft Teams, Google Meets, whatever it is, and you throw that in there. They copy and paste it in there, and they're right in there right away. The link also works fine, but I feel like the code is just a little bit easier, and so yeah, that's how they would actually hop right in. Some more details about Parlay. This tool is approved on Common Sense, like I said. It has a 74% privacy rating, 4-star rating for learning, and 5 stars for the community. This shows it's like the actual usability, I guess, for lack of a better term, is solid 4 and 5 stars out of 5. That shows that it does its job. People enjoy it. People like it. Their students learn from it, which is awesome. The 74% privacy rating, which might be a little bit low, is just due to those factors that we talked about before about reviewing what's being posted, stuff like that. I think overall, though, it's solid. Then Parlay is free to try, but needs a paid subscription eventually. So you guys can hop on there and practice right now as you follow along for free. You will need to pay eventually as either a student, or not a student, as a teacher or a school, just to have access to that and establish it. But students will never have to pay. So that's awesome. You get a grant or whatever from your school and just pay for it that way. And then you have access to it always. Your students never have to pay. They'll always have access to it. Teachers need an account. Students don't. They just need that code or that link, which is awesome because then you don't have to spend the time walking them through making an account and doing all that stuff. They can just have the access code, say their name, good to go. And then you don't have to worry about all that. You can access Parlay from a computer at home or school. So that's awesome if you want to do it in person, or if you have a hybrid classroom, they can kind of go along with each other, or a fully asynchronous classroom, or if they're just online doing it live. It's sweet. You can do it at home or in person, and there's no problems with wherever you're at as long as you have internet access. And then talking about the privacy policy, I think it's solid. It's just that couple things we talked about before. But overall, I think it's a good website, really good tool to use, especially during these times where you're trying to get engagement, but your students are online. So sometimes it's a little bit harder to get them to be involved. So this is an easy way where they don't have to turn on their mic, they don't have to turn on their camera or anything like that, but they can still be fully involved and go back and forth with each other and learn that way, which I think is one of the best ways to learn and review topics. So overall, I'd say Parlay is an awesome tool to use for discussions and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you for your time, and hopefully you can implement that in your own classroom. Thank you. Have a good one.